Hello people of the internet, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. Okay, so for today's video I'm going to be doing a discussion video for A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. If you don't know, this is the sequel to the book A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So if you have read A Court of Thorns and Roses and you haven't read this book yet, you can continue watching for a little while and I will let you know when I'm going to start getting to proper spoilers for this book, and then you can like click off and come back and watch this video when you have read the book. So this book contains a lot more character development and world building compared to the first book, so it kind of takes a while to get into compared to A Court of Thorns and Roses, and some people might think that that makes this book like not as action packed as the first book, which is exactly how I felt for like a good bit of this book. I was enjoying it, but I was just like, there's not as much action happening compared to the first book, and that is because this book just contains so much world building and character development, which I think is very, very necessary for us to like form our opinions and get the feels all correctly. So it was very like important to do that as well, but I just think maybe it shouldn't have took up so much of the book, because the majority of the book was just world building and character development, and it kind of was a bit slow, but at the end it picks up and it's just such an amazing book. So that's really all I'm going to say. That's non-spoilers about this book. So if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend that you go read it, come back when you have read it, and you can discuss all the feels with me, because I have a lot of feels about this book. So goodbye people who don't want to be spoiled. Okay guys, so this book, let me get into this. I have a lot of feelings about this book, and the ending, but we're gonna leave that for a while. I'll get there eventually, just wait a second guys, we'll get to the ending, because I have a lot I need to talk about with the ending. Okay, so this book starts with Feyre and Tamlin like 3 months after the events of the first book, and we see that their relationship is a bit unsteady because Tamlin is constantly like trying to protect Feyre and keeping her locked up in the house, and he's putting up these wards and all these stuff so she can't leave. Whenever she wants to leave the grounds, she has to be accompanied by someone, and she's just not allowed to do anything freely. And at this point I was just thinking Tamlin is starting to get a bit like abusive boyfriend, kind of. Not really, because he doesn't actually abuse her, but that's what I was getting the feels from him. I don't know if any of you guys were getting that kind of feels from him as well. So I was starting to like change my opinion on Tamlin, and I was a really big fan of Tamlin. I like shipped them really hard in the first book, but then my feelings were starting to change and I was like, I actually don't know about you now anymore. And then she's supposed to get married to him, and then just before she's about to like say no, that she doesn't want to marry him, Rhys stumbles in. She's just like, oh hey darling, and that part just cracked me up. When every time he said darling in this book, I couldn't help but laugh. I just love his little charisma and his like just his confidence. It's just so funny, and it just really makes me like love Rhys. And then so she gets whipped away and she has to do her like week deal, and then she comes back to Tamlin and she realizes all this stuff, that Tamlin's been an absolute dick. I'm just gonna throw it out there, he's been a dick. And so then she like doesn't want to be with him anymore, and then basically Mor comes and takes Feyre and brings her back to Rhysand, and he just basically says that she can stay there for as long as she wants, and she wants to do that. Basically that's how their relationship starts to grow, and their friendship, their relationship, their mating, whatever you want to call it. We start to learn things about Rhys that he's not actually who he was. That was just an act he was putting on for being around Amarantha, and it's just, we learned so much about his character, and my whole opinion changed on him. He's now like my favorite male character I have read in a book in so long. I just love his charisma, as I've said, and all that kind of stuff, and his confidence, his banter with Feyre, his little flirts. It's just so funny. I just love Rhys so much, and I'm a huge fan. And then like he brings her to Velaris, or Velaris, I don't know how you're going to pronounce it. I'm going to say Velaris, and it's just it sounds like such a beautiful city, and the fact that he like kept this all hidden just to protect his people, and it just makes us like think that he's actually such a nice person, and he was willing to do anything that he could to make sure that his people were safe. Oh yeah, and Velaris kind of reminded me of Idris in the Mortal Instruments series, so I was kind of getting that beautiful kind of village, town, city vibe, and the fact that he was protecting all of this just to save his people and risk them without getting hurt by Amarantha and all that kind of stuff was just absolutely beautiful, and I really liked it. And the sex scenes in this were very graphic. I was not expecting that from Sarah J Maas. And I kind of felt like I was reading 50 Shades of Grey, and every time I was reading the sex scenes, I was like in the room with my parents or something, and I was just like laughing to myself because they didn't know what I was reading. And like there'd be parts where like his head was down a certain area and stuff, and I was just like, I'm smiling right now just talking about it, and I don't even know what to say. It was just so funny, and yeah, it was just very, very graphic. So for the majority of this book, I did feel that nothing was actually happening. Like they were just trying to find the parts for the book and learn about the cauldron and all this kind of stuff. And I know that's really setting it up for the next book, but for me, I was just like, okay, nothing is really happening. I was loving the characters, all that kind of stuff. I was loving it. Like, I was just saying through the whole thing, I was like, this is probably a 4 out of 5 star book for me right now, because just nothing was happening. And then the ending happened, and now it's a 5 out of 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars because that ending, I'm just gonna skip to that part right now because I really don't have anything else that I need to say about the rest of this book. So, when those like weird things came flying into Valeris, my heart sunk. I was like, no, no. They are not going to attack this beautiful city that Rhys has tried so hard for so long to keep protected, just because those stupid queens ratted him out and just told the king everything and sent his attack on them. I was so pissed because I was like, no, this is such a beautiful city. He's working so hard to keep it protected, and now this stupid queen or queens, whatever they did, now they're here. And I was so angry. And through that whole scene, I was like, someone's gonna die. Someone is going to die. And I was so sure it was gonna be Cassian. And I was like, nope, not happening. Cassian is my favorite character. He's not dying. It's not happening. I'm not allowing this. I will write a formal letter to Sarah J. Maas if he dies. And thankfully, he did not die, and it's fine. I will not be writing a formal letter to Sarah J. Maas, but I would have if he had died. And then we have Farah, who like goes to like the river, and then she just summons out her like wolves made out of war, and I was just like, what? That was so badass. And like, what? And then she gets the eagles, and they like attack people and drown them, and it's just like, wow, whoa. She's just such a beast, and I love Farah. She's become such a badass character, and I would not stand in her way because the shit she can do. Whoa. Okay, and then they finally get the book together, so they end up going to Highburn, and they get to the cauldron. They get in way too easily in my opinion. I'm just like, wow, this is far too simple. Why are they getting in so easy? There's no way Azriel could have got all this figured out and got them in so easily. And then she gets to the cauldron and she's like hallucinating or something, or the power's just overwhelming her and she can't do it. And then like that Jurian guy just comes down and he's just like, oh, ha, and you're just like, oh shit. And then they get brought to the king, and you just know the shit's gonna go down, and it's just not a great time. And then Azriel gets shot with an arrow, and I was just like, nope, she's gonna kill the other one. She might not kill Cassian, but she's gonna kill the other one, and I'm still not okay with that. But luckily he's still not dead either, so that is fine. Like, I'm okay. And then we find out that Tamlin actually was working with the king so that the king would give Farah back to Tamlin, and I was just like, you absolute prick. And I was just like, no, Tamlin, how, why would you do that? And I actually didn't see it coming. I did not even think about Tamlin working for the other guy. Didn't cross my mind at all. And I was just like, no, why would you do that? And he just wants to take her away, and Farah's just like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, well, you're coming back to me, you're mine. And little does he know that she's already mated with Rhys, so it's not gonna happen, Tamlin, I'm afraid. She already got another boo. You better go scootling off, find yourself another one. And then he brings in her sisters, and he's like, yeah, you better do what we say or your sister's gonna get it. And then he turns her sisters into Fae. I genuinely thought Elaine was gonna die. I was like, I feel like Nesta is the stronger one. Nesta will survive, but Elaine's gonna die. And I was just like, no, this is gonna be too heart-wrenching for me. But luckily, Elaine and Nesta both survive, but then Lucy's just like, Elaine, you are my mate. And I was just like, okay, right. And then that happened. And then like Cassian was like, all like trying to look up at Nesta and stuff. So my theory is that Nesta and Cassian are going to be mates, but I said that theory as well, and then loads of people were telling me that that is just too simple, because if Sarah J Maas just puts the last two single people together, it's just going to be really annoying. And I'm actually starting to agree with those people. Like, it's just going to be too simple, because apparently mating is supposed to be something that's really rare. So if he finds it that easily, it's just not that realistic, and I'm actually agreeing with people when they say that. And then Farah is just like, you can break the bond, I'll go back with you, Tamlin. And like, she's playing on this role, and Rhys and Cassian, they all know what she's doing, and he breaks the bond, and I actually like was just like, no. I thought they broke the mating bond, and I was like, no, I'm not okay. My ship is gonna sink again. This is not okay. And luckily, they were like, they didn't realize that they could ever break our bond. And I was just like, yes, they are not broken. And now Farah's just gonna be like the insider, and she's gonna help Rhys, and it's just gonna be so awesome. And the next book is just gonna be so freaking amazing, and it's gonna be humongous compared to this one. I'm so ready for it. I feel like Lucian is definitely gonna help Farah, because he's not really bad like Tamlin. I feel like he's going to work with Farah to try get to Elaine, because they're mates now. So he's going to be working with Farah, I think. And I just think the next book is just going to be so epic. There's going to be such more badass stuff from Farah with those like water wolves again and stuff like that. It's just going to be so epic. And she's just going to be so much more awesome. And I just cannot wait for the next book, because it's going to be so freaking amazing. Okay guys, so if you could not tell, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, as you can tell as well. And let me know down below in the comments all of your feels, because I'm sure you guys have a lot of feels that you need to talk to me about as well. And I will happily discuss this kind of stuff with you. We could talk about more of our theories, if you agree with some of my theories, and stuff like that. But other than that, I will see you guys all on Wednesday for my next video. So thanks for watching, and goodbye!